The engine oil was everywhere. Black, thick, and completely unforgiving as it dripped down Tasha Williams' forearms and onto the hot asphalt beneath the luxury sedan. She shouldn't have stopped. She really shouldn't have stopped. Her blind date was waiting at Marcelo's restaurant across town, probably checking his watch, probably already annoyed that she was 20 minutes late. Her sister Nicole had set this whole thing up, insisting that Tasha needed to get back into dating after 3 years of focusing solely on her daughter and her struggling auto repair shop. But here she was, on her hands and knees on the side of Highway 7, fixing a stranger's car because she couldn't just drive past someone in need. That wasn't who she was. That had never been who she was. The stranger stood a few feet away, his expensive gray suit jacket draped over one arm, his white dress shirt now wrinkled and slightly damp from the humid evening air. He looked completely out of place on this stretch of road, like someone had photoshopped a corporate executive into a blue-collar nightmare. His car, a sleek silver Mercedes, sat with its hood propped open like a patient on an operating table. "I really can't thank you enough for stopping," the man said for the third time. His voice was deep, genuine. Everyone else just drove right past. Tasha didn't look up from the engine. Her fingers worked quickly, expertly, locating the problem with the kind of confidence that came from 15 years of crawling under vehicles. "Timing belts shredded," she called out. "You're lucky you didn't blow the whole engine. When's the last time you had this serviced?" "I honestly don't know," he admitted. "My assistant usually handles that." Of course he had an assistant. Tasha bit back a comment about people who drove expensive cars without maintaining them. Now wasn't the time for her speech about automotive responsibility. She glanced at her phone, which sat on the ground next to her toolbox. 25 minutes late now. Nicole was going to lose her mind. "I can get you running," Tasha said, reaching for a wrench from her battered red toolbox. "But you'll need a real fix soon. This is just a temporary patch. You'll need to get to a shop within a day or two." "What shop would you recommend?" he asked, moving closer to watch her work. "Mine if I still have one after tonight," Tasha muttered under her breath. "Sorry?" "Nothing." She wiped sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand, probably smearing grease across her face in the process. Her good blue dress, the one she'd actually ironed for this date, now had oil stains on the knees. Her carefully applied makeup was definitely running. And her hair, which she'd spent 40 minutes flat ironing that morning, was probably a mess from the humidity and the wind from passing trucks. This was exactly why she didn't date. Life was too complicated. Too messy. Too full of broken-down cars and strangers who needed help. "There," she said, tightening the last bolt. "That should hold. But seriously, get this looked at properly. Tomorrow if you can." She stood up, her knees protesting slightly. At 32, she was starting to feel every hour spent bent over engines. The man stepped forward, his hand extended. "Jordan Mitchell," he said. "And I mean it when I say you saved my life tonight. I have a really important dinner meeting and I thought I was going to miss it completely." Tasha shook his hand, leaving a grease smudge on his palm. She winced. "Sorry about that. I'm Tasha. And you're welcome. Just doing what anyone would do." "I don't think that's true," Jordan said, looking at his palm with amusement rather than disgust. "Most people wouldn't even know where to start with an engine." "Are you a mechanic?" "I own an auto repair shop. T&B Auto Repair. It's about 15 miles back that way." She gestured behind them. "Like I said, come by tomorrow and we'll fix you up properly. But right now I really need to go. I'm incredibly late for something." "A date?" Jordan asked, his expression curious. Tasha felt her cheeks warm. Why had she said anything? Blind date. First one in 3 years. Which means I'm about to walk into that restaurant looking like I just wrestled an engine. Which I guess I did. Jordan laughed. It was a nice laugh, warm and real. "I'm sure whoever he is will understand. And if he doesn't, he's an idiot." "Thanks." Tasha gathered her tools quickly, throwing them into the toolbox without her usual care for organization. She'd deal with that later. Right now, she just needed to get to Marcelo's, apologize profusely to whatever poor guy Nicole had set her up with, and probably go home alone to eat ice cream with her daughter and watch cartoons. That sounded better than a blind date anyway. "Can I at least pay you for your time?" Jordan asked, reaching for his wallet. "No need," Tasha said, waving him off as she jogged back to her own car, a beat-up red pickup truck that was older than some of her tools. "Just pay it forward. Help someone else when they need it." She didn't wait for his response. She threw her toolbox in the truck bed, climbed into the driver's seat and pulled back onto the highway, her heart racing. 38 minutes late now. Nicole was definitely going to kill her. But as she drove toward the restaurant, checking her reflection in the rearview mirror and trying to wipe the worst of the grease from her face with a napkin, she couldn't stop thinking about the man with the broken-down Mercedes. There had been something about him. Something kind in his eyes. Something grateful and real in the way he'd thanked her. But she'd probably never see him again. That was how life worked. You helped people, they moved on, and you went back to your regular existence of overdue bills and parent-teacher conferences and trying to keep a small business alive in a world that seemed designed to crush small businesses. Tasha pulled into the parking lot of Marcelo's restaurant 45 minutes late. Through the large windows, she could see couples dining by candlelight, waiters in crisp white shirts moving between tables with practiced grace. It was the kind of place where people proposed and celebrated anniversaries. It was not the kind of place where greasy mechanics in ruined dresses usually showed up. She took a deep breath, grabbed her purse and headed for the entrance. Could you imagine showing up to a blind date looking like you just crawled out from under a car? Would you have stopped to help a stranger if it meant ruining your one chance at romance? Drop a comment below and let me know what you would have done. And if you're enjoying this story, please subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. The hostess at Marcelo's looked Tasha up and down with barely concealed horror. To be fair, Tasha understood. She'd caught a glimpse of herself in the restaurant's glass door, and she looked like she'd been in a fight with a car and lost. Badly. "I'm here to meet someone," Tasha said, trying to brush some dust off her dress and only making it worse. "The reservation is probably under Nicole Harris? Or maybe under the guy's name. I don't actually know his name. This is a blind date situation." The hostess's expression shifted slightly. Professional courtesy replacing judgment. "Oh yes, he's been waiting. Right this way." Tasha followed her through the restaurant, acutely aware of the stares from other diners. A little boy pointed at her and said something to his mother. An elderly couple smiled sympathetically. This was torture. Pure social torture. Nicole was definitely getting an earful about this later. The hostess led her to a corner table, and Tasha started forming her apology in her head. She'd explain about the broken-down car, about how she couldn't just leave someone stranded, about how this wasn't how she normally looked. Most of it would be embarrassing, but at least it would be honest. Then she looked at the table. Jordan Mitchell sat there in his slightly wrinkled white shirt, his gray suit jacket now hanging on the back of his chair. He was studying the menu, a small smile on his face. When he looked up and saw her, his smile widened into something that looked like genuine delight. "You," Tasha said. It wasn't eloquent, but it was all her brain could manage in that moment. "Me," Jordan confirmed, standing up. "And you?" "The mechanic who saved my evening." Tasha's mouth opened and closed. The hostess looked between them, confused. The entire restaurant seemed to tilt slightly on its axis. "You're my blind date?" Tasha finally managed. "Apparently so. Your sister Nicole works with my business partner's wife, right? They've been trying to set this up for months." "Oh my God." Tasha wanted to disappear into the floor. "You watched me fix your car. You saw me covered in grease. And then I ran off and you had to sit here for 45 minutes knowing that the disaster of a woman who'd just been under your hood was supposed to be your date." Jordan pulled out her chair. "Sit, please. And for the record, I didn't know you were my date until you walked in just now. I thought I was having the strangest stroke of luck. The woman who stopped to help me also happened to be running late to the same restaurant I was going to." Tasha sat, mostly because her legs felt wobbly. "I look terrible." "You look like someone who stopped to help a stranger even though it cost you something. That's not terrible. That's actually pretty remarkable." A waiter appeared with water and menus. He didn't even blink at Tasha's appearance, which she appreciated more than she could express. Maybe people showed up to Marcelo's covered in engine grease all the time. Probably not, but it was a nice thought. "I should go home and clean up," Tasha said. "We could reschedule." "Don't." Jordan's voice was firm but kind. "Please, stay. I've been looking forward to this all week, and now that I know you're the woman who stops for stranded drivers, I'm even more interested in having dinner with you." Tasha studied him. He seemed genuine. But then again, this was a billionaire. Nicole had mentioned that part when she'd set up the date. Jordan Mitchell, tech entrepreneur, founder of some app that had revolutionized something or other. Tasha hadn't paid much attention to the details. She'd been too busy trying to figure out what to wear and whether she could afford a babysitter. "Okay," Tasha said finally. "But I need to wash my hands. And probably my face. And maybe my arms." "The bathroom is down that hall," Jordan said, pointing. Tasha escaped to the ladies' room, where she spent 10 minutes scrubbing at her hands and face with fancy soap that smelled like lavender. She got most of the grease off, but there was still a dark smudge on her cheek that wouldn't budge. Her dress was a lost cause. But at least she looked slightly more human now. When she returned to the table, Jordan had ordered appetizers. Bruschetta and some kind of fancy cheese plate. "I hope that's okay," he said. "I figured you might be hungry after your impromptu roadside repair job." "Starving," Tasha admitted. She'd been too nervous to eat lunch, and that had been 8 hours ago. They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. The bruschetta was incredible. Tasha usually packed sandwiches for dinner between jobs at the shop, so this felt like dining in a palace. "Tell me about your shop," Jordan said. "T&B Auto Repair." "What does the B stand for?" "Brianna. My daughter. She's 7. Tasha smiled at the thought of her. "The shop is named after both of us. I opened it 5 years ago after working for other people for too long. Wanted to build something of my own. Something I could pass down to her someday if she wanted it." "That's beautiful," Jordan said. "And brave. Small businesses are tough." "You're telling me?" Tasha laughed, but there was an edge to it. "Some months I'm not sure we're going to make it. But we keep going. I've got 2 part-time employees now, which helps. And I've built up a decent customer base. People who trust me." "I can see why they would," Jordan said. "You fixed my car in about 15 minutes on the side of a highway. I've paid mechanics hundreds of dollars for less impressive work." "Speaking of which," Tasha said, straightening in her chair, "you need to bring that Mercedes by tomorrow. What I did tonight will hold, but you need a real timing belt replacement. It's about a 6-hour job. Parts will run you around $400, labor another $600. Jordan pulled out his phone and typed something. "Done. I'll have my assistant drop it off first thing tomorrow morning." "What's your shop's address?" Tasha rattled it off, then added, "And thank you for agreeing to come to my shop. Some people see our location and decide they'd rather go somewhere fancier." "Fancier doesn't mean better," Jordan said. "I learned that a long time ago." The waiter returned to take their dinner orders. Tasha chose pasta because it was the least expensive entree on the menu. Jordan ordered the same, which made her relax slightly. She'd been worried he'd order something with a price tag that could feed her and Brianna for a week. "Can I ask you something?" Jordan said after the waiter left. "Why did you stop?" "For my car, I mean. You were already late. You could have just kept driving." Tasha thought about it. "My dad was a mechanic. Before he died, he taught me everything he knew. He always said that a car breaking down isn't just an inconvenience. Sometimes it's a crisis. Maybe someone is trying to get to the hospital. Maybe they're trying to get home to their kids. Maybe they just need one person to see them and help. So whenever I see someone stranded, I stop. Because my dad would have stopped." Jordan's expression softened. "He sounds like a good man." "He was the best." Tasha felt the familiar ache in her chest. Her father had been gone for 4 years now, but she still missed him every single day. "He would have liked knowing I kept his lessons alive." "I'm sure he'd be proud of you," Jordan said quietly. They talked through dinner about everything and nothing. Jordan told her about growing up in a rough neighborhood in Chicago, about putting himself through college working 3 jobs, about building his first app in a tiny apartment with 2 roommates. Tasha shared stories about Brianna, about the challenges of being a single mom, about her dreams of expanding the shop someday. When the check came, Jordan took it immediately. "This one's on me," he said. "Especially after you saved my evening." "Jordan," Tasha said, "I can pay for my half." "I know you can. But I'd like to pay for dinner. And actually, I'd like to do something else too." He pulled out his wallet and handed her a business card. "That car repair you did tonight. How much would you normally charge for that?" "I didn't do it for money," Tasha protested. "I know. But your time is valuable. Your expertise is valuable. Let me pay you what I would have paid any other mechanic. Plus the cost of the real repair tomorrow." He handed her his card. "Send the invoice to my assistant. She'll process it immediately." Tasha hesitated. Pride warred with practicality. The truth was, $1,000 would mean she could finally fix the leak in the shop's roof. It would mean she could buy Brianna the new winter coat she needed. "Okay," she said, taking the card. "Thank you. Really. That's very generous." "It's fair," Jordan corrected. "And it's the least I can do for someone who stopped to help when no one else would." They walked out of the restaurant together. The night air was cooler now, refreshing after the warmth of the dining room. Jordan walked Tasha to her truck. "I had a really good time tonight," he said. "Despite the unusual beginning. Or maybe because of it." "Me too," Tasha admitted. "This was much better than I expected a blind date to be." "Can I see you again?" Jordan asked. Maybe somewhere less formal? I'd love to meet Brianna. And see your shop during actual business hours. Tasha's heart did a little flip. You want to see me again? Even after tonight's disaster? Tonight wasn't a disaster. Tonight was perfect. Jordan smiled. You're real, Tasha. You care about people. You work hard. You're raising a daughter on your own and running a business, and you still stop to help strangers. That's not something you find every day. Okay, Tasha said, feeling warmth spread through her chest. Yes, I'd like that. They exchanged phone numbers. Jordan waited until Tasha was safely in her truck before walking to his own car, which she noticed was now running smoothly thanks to her roadside patch job. As she drove home, Tasha couldn't stop smiling. Nicole had been right. Sometimes blind dates weren't disasters. Sometimes they were the beginning of something wonderful. 3 days after their disastrous turn-perfect blind date, Jordan showed up at T&B Auto Repair at 7 in the morning with a box of donuts and 2 coffees. Tasha was already under a Honda Civic when she heard the bell on the shop door ring. She rolled out on her creeper, ready to tell whoever it was that they'd have to wait until 8 for service. Then she saw Jordan standing there in jeans and a green polo shirt, looking completely different from the suited businessman who'd been stranded on the highway. You're here early, Tasha said, sitting up and wiping her hands on her coveralls. I wanted to catch you before the day got busy. Jordan held up the coffee and donuts. Peace offering for showing up unannounced. Donuts are always welcome. Tasha stood, gesturing to her small office in the corner of the shop. Come on back. But ignore the mess. This isn't Marcelo's. The office was tiny, barely big enough for a desk, 2 chairs, and a filing cabinet that was missing a drawer. Papers covered every surface. Invoices, repair orders, parts catalogs. A photo of Brianna in her school uniform sat on the desk next to a coffee mug that said, World's Okayest Mom. Jordan set the coffee and donuts down, looking around with interest rather than judgment. How long have you had this place? 5 years next month. Tasha took one of the coffees gratefully. It was from the good coffee shop downtown, the one she couldn't usually afford. Started with just me and a dream. Now I've got 2 part-time employees and enough business to almost pay the bills. Almost? Tasha shrugged. Some months are better than others. Last month the refrigeration unit in the parts room died. That set me back. But we're managing. We always manage. Jordan sat down, pulling a chocolate donut from the box. Your Mercedes is done, by the way. New timing belt, full service. Runs like a dream now. I know. I picked it up yesterday. Your work is excellent. He paused. I also noticed your roof is leaking. Tasha glanced up at the water-stained ceiling tiles. Yeah, that's on the list. After I replace the air compressor and maybe fix the sign out front that keeps flickering. What if I helped with that? Jordan? Hear me out. He leaned forward. I have money. More than I'll ever spend. And I believe in investing in people who work hard and care about what they do. Let me fix your roof. And the sign. And whatever else needs fixing. Tasha wanted to say no. Pride made her want to refuse. But she thought about her father's voice in her head, about accepting help when it was offered with genuine kindness. Okay, she said. But I'll pay you back. Once business picks up more. No payback necessary. Consider it an investment in a business I believe in. Before Tasha could respond, the shop door opened and Brianna burst in, still in her pajamas, her hair in 2 puffy ponytails. Mom? Nicole says we're out of orange juice and... She stopped when she saw Jordan. Hi. Brianna, Tasha said. This is Jordan. He's a friend. Jordan, this is my daughter. Nice to meet you, Brianna. Jordan smiled at her. I like your pajamas. Are those rockets? Rockets and planets. Brianna moved closer, examining Jordan with the fearless curiosity of a 7-year-old. Are you my mom's boyfriend? Brianna. Tasha felt her face heat up. Jordan laughed. We're friends right now. But I'm hoping to spend more time with both of you if that's okay. Do you like cartoons? Brianna asked. Love them. Especially the ones with robots. Me too. Brianna's face lit up. Mom says robots are just machines, but I think they're cool anyway. They are machines, Tasha said. Very complex machines. See. Brianna looked at Jordan. She makes everything about cars and engines. It's her thing. Over the next few weeks, Jordan became a regular presence at the shop and in their lives. He came by most mornings with coffee. He stayed sometimes to watch Tasha work, asking questions about engines and repairs with genuine interest. He brought Brianna books about space and coding, sparking a new obsession. The roof got fixed. So did the sign and the air compressor. Jordan didn't make a big deal about any of it. He just quietly arranged for contractors to come in after hours so the work wouldn't interrupt Tasha's business. One Saturday, Jordan arrived at their small apartment above a Chinese restaurant with his arms full of groceries. "I thought I'd make dinner," he said when Tasha opened the door. "If that's okay. I make a mean spaghetti and meatballs." Nicole, who was visiting and had answered the door, raised her eyebrows at Tasha. "Girl, if you don't let this man cook for you, I will." They all crowded into the tiny kitchen while Jordan cooked. He moved around the space efficiently, chopping vegetables and stirring sauce, talking with Brianna about her latest school project on the solar system. "I need to build a model," Brianna explained. "But the kit at the store is $30 and Mom says that's too much right now." Tasha felt a familiar pang of guilt. She hated saying no to Brianna, but money was tight after paying the month's rent and the electric bill. "What if I helped you build one?" Jordan offered. "We could make it from scratch. Would be a fun project. And probably better than anything from a store." "Really?" Brianna's eyes widened. "Really? We'll need foam balls, paint, some wire. Probably cost about $10 total." Tasha opened her mouth to protest, but Jordan met her eyes with a look that said, "Let me do this." She nodded. Over dinner, Nicole watched Jordan and Brianna talk about planets and space stations. She pulled Tasha aside while they were clearing plates. "He's good with her," Nicole said quietly. "And he's good to you. Don't overthink this." "I'm not," Tasha protested. "You are. I can see it in your face. You're worried this is too good to be true." "Maybe it is. Or maybe it's just good. Maybe you deserve good things, Tasha." After dinner, Jordan pulled Tasha aside while Brianna was showing Nicole her rock collection. "I need to talk to you about something," he said. "And I want you to really hear me out before you say no." Tasha's stomach tightened. "Okay." Brianna mentioned she wants to go to that science camp this summer. "The one at the university." "Jordan? It costs $1,500. I know that's a lot. I know you're saving for it. But what if I paid for it? As a gift. Not a loan, not something you have to pay back. Just a gift because I care about both of you and I want Brianna to have opportunities." Tasha felt tears prick her eyes. "That's too much." "It's nothing. Tasha, I spend more than that on dinner sometimes. Let me do this. Please. You work so hard. You sacrifice so much. Let someone help carry the load." Tasha thought about Brianna's face when she'd seen the camp brochure. How excited she'd been. How Tasha had gently explained they'd have to see if they could afford it, which was mom speak for, probably not. "Okay," she said finally. "Yes, thank you. That's incredibly generous and kind and I don't know how to repay you." "You don't repay kindness," Jordan said softly. "You just accept it and pass it forward when you can." He pulled her into a hug and Tasha let herself relax into it. Maybe Nicole was right. Maybe she deserved good things. Maybe Jordan was one of those good things. The penthouse was nothing like Tasha had imagined. She'd expected cold marble and modern art and furniture that looked uncomfortable. Instead, Jordan's home was warm and lived in with comfortable couches, bookshelves overflowing with novels and tech manuals, and a kitchen that actually looked used. "This is where you live?" Brianna asked, her eyes wide as she took in the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "This is it," Jordan said. "Want to see the balcony?" Brianna nodded enthusiastically. Jordan led her outside while Tasha stood in the living room, trying to process everything. The view alone probably cost more than she'd make in 5 years. But Jordan had invited them here for dinner, and he'd been so casual about it that Tasha had almost forgotten she was entering a completely different world. "You okay?" Jordan asked, returning from the balcony. "Just taking it in," Tasha admitted. "This is a lot. It's just a place." Jordan moved to the kitchen and started pulling out ingredients. "And honestly, it's too big for one person. I always thought I'd have a family here someday. Kids running around. That kind of thing." "Is that what you want? A family?" "Yeah." Jordan met her eyes. "That's exactly what I want." The way he looked at her made Tasha's heart race. Like maybe he was seeing that future with her in it? With Brianna in it? Dinner was simple. Grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, rice. Jordan cooked while telling stories about his early days in tech, about living in tiny apartments and eating ramen for weeks at a time. "I had $57 in my bank account when I launched my first app," he said. "I thought I was going to have to move back in with my mom if it didn't work." "But it did work," Brianna said. She was sitting on a bar stool at the kitchen island, completely comfortable in this space that was so foreign to Tasha. "It did. But only because I had people who believed in me. My mom, who sent me $20 when she could barely afford groceries. My college roommate who let me crash on his couch for 6 months. My first investor, who took a chance on a kid from the South Side with more ideas than experience. And now you're rich, Brianna said matter-of-factly. Jordan laughed. Yeah, now I'm rich. But money doesn't change who you are, Brianna. It just gives you more options. What matters is what you do with those options. After dinner, they watched a movie on Jordan's massive TV. Brianna fell asleep halfway through, her head on Tasha's lap. Jordan covered her with a blanket and turned the volume down. She's a great kid, he said softly. She is. And she really likes you. She talks about you constantly. Jordan said this and Jordan showed me that. You're a big deal in her world. She's a big deal in mine too. Jordan paused. You both are. Tasha felt something shift in her chest. Something warm and terrifying and wonderful all at once. Jordan, I need to tell you something, she said. I'm scared. Of what? This. Everything moving so fast. You're this successful billionaire and I'm a mechanic who lives above a restaurant. Our worlds are so different. Jordan moved closer, taking her hand. Our worlds aren't that different. We both work hard. We both care about people. We both want to build something meaningful. Money doesn't change those things. But what if I can't fit into your world? What if I embarrass you at some fancy business dinner? What if? Tasha. Jordan's voice was firm. I don't want you to fit into my world. I want to build a new world with you. One where neither of us has to pretend to be anything other than who we are. That sounds nice, Tasha admitted. Really nice. Then let's try. No more worrying about money or social class or any of that. Just two people who care about each other, figuring it out together. Tasha looked at Brianna sleeping peacefully, then back at Jordan. Okay. But I need you to know something. Brianna comes first. Always. If this relationship ever becomes something that's not good for her, I'll walk away. I would never ask you to do anything else, Jordan said. She's your priority. I respect that. I admire it. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the end of the movie. When it was over, Jordan helped Tasha carry a drowsy Brianna to his car so he could drive them home. Wait, Jordan said before they left. There's something I want to give you. He disappeared into a room and returned with a folder. Your shop. You said you want to expand someday. I had my financial team put together some options. Ways you could grow. Open a second location maybe. Hire more people. Buy better equipment. Tasha opened the folder. Inside were detailed plans, budgets, projections. Everything she dreamed about but never thought possible. Jordan, I can't accept this. Why not? Because it's too much. Because I don't want you to think I'm with you for your money. Jordan took her hands. Tasha, you stopped to help me on the side of the road when you had no idea who I was. You showed up to our first date covered in grease from fixing my car. You've tried to refuse every single thing I've offered to help with. I know you're not with me for money. I know you're with me because we make each other happy. So please, let me invest in your dreams. Let me help you build the business you've always wanted. Tasha felt tears rolling down her cheeks. You really believe in me? I do. More than you know. Then yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. This is the most incredible gift anyone has ever given me. Jordan pulled her into a hug, careful not to wake Brianna, who was half asleep against Tasha's shoulder. We're going to build something amazing together. I can feel it. Driving home that night, Tasha couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, she felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to work out. 6 months later, TNB Auto Repair looked completely different. The new location was twice the size of the old shop, with modern equipment, bright lighting, and enough space for 4 vehicles at once. Tasha had hired 2 full-time mechanics and a receptionist. The business was thriving. Jordan had kept his promise to invest without interfering. The shop was still Tasha's. Her vision, her rules, her leadership. Jordan just made it possible for that vision to become reality. Mom? Brianna called from the office. Jordan's on the phone. He wants to know if we can go to the aquarium on Saturday. Tasha wiped her hands on a rag and took the phone. The aquarium? That's a 2-hour drive. I know, Jordan's voice came through the speaker. But they have a new exhibit on deep-sea creatures and Brianna mentioned wanting to see it. We could make a day of it. Pack a picnic lunch. Spend time together. You know she's going to want to stop at every single exhibit, right? This will take all day. Good. I don't have anywhere else I'd rather be. Tasha felt that familiar warmth spread through her chest. Okay. Yes. We'd love that. The aquarium trip was perfect. Brianna pressed her face against every glass tank, asking a million questions about fish and octopi and sharks. Jordan answered what he could and made up ridiculous answers for the rest, making them all laugh. During lunch at a picnic table outside the aquarium, Jordan pulled out his phone. "I want to show you something," he said to Tasha. "Remember how we talked about you maybe wanting to franchise T&B Auto Repair eventually? That was a pipe dream conversation," Tasha said. "Maybe not." Jordan showed her his phone screen. "I had my team do some research. There are 3 cities within 50 miles that don't have quality independent auto repair shops. Each one would be a perfect location for a T&B franchise. You could train managers to run them, keep the quality control, and expand your brand." Tasha stared at the screen. "Detailed reports, demographic data, financial projections. You really did research. I believe in what you're building. And I think you're ready for this next step." "I don't know. That's a lot. What if I fail? What if you succeed?" Jordan countered. "Tasha, you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met. You're smart, you're talented, and you care about your customers. Those franchises would thrive under your leadership." "Can I think about it?" "Of course. Take all the time you need. I just wanted you to know the option is there." Later, as they walked through the gift shop, Brianna tugged on Jordan's sleeve. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Are you going to marry my mom?" Tasha nearly dropped the stuffed dolphin she'd been looking at. "Brianna." "What?" Brianna looked between them innocently. "You guys are always together. And you look at each other the way people in movies look at each other before they get married." Jordan knelt down to Brianna's level. "Would that be okay with you? If I married your mom someday?" Brianna nodded seriously. "I think it would be good. Then you could be my dad." "I don't have one of those." Tasha's throat tightened. Brianna rarely mentioned not having a father. Her biological father had left before she was born, and Tasha had worked hard to make sure Brianna never felt like she was missing anything. "I would be honored to be your dad," Jordan said softly. Brianna hugged him, and Tasha had to turn away to wipe tears from her eyes. That night, after they dropped Brianna off with Nicole for a sleepover, Jordan and Tasha went for a walk along the river downtown. "Sorry about Brianna's question today," Tasha said. "She's 7. She doesn't have a filter." "Don't apologize. She asked a fair question." Jordan stopped walking and turned to face Tasha. "And the truth is I've been thinking about it too. About marrying you. About becoming Brianna's father officially. About building a life together." "Jordan? I know it's only been 6 months. I know some people would say that's too fast. But I also know that I've never been more certain about anything in my life. You and Brianna, you're my family. You're what I've been looking for all along." "I feel the same way," Tasha admitted. "It scares me how much I care about you. How much Brianna cares about you." "Why does it scare you?" "Because what if something goes wrong? What if this doesn't work out? Brianna would be heartbroken. I would be heartbroken." Jordan took her hands. "Life doesn't come with guarantees. But I can promise you that I will show up every day. I will love you both with everything I have. I will never take you for granted. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to deserve the gift of being part of your family." "That's a big promise." "I'm a big promise kind of guy." Tasha laughed through her tears. "Okay. Yes. Let's do this. Let's build a life together. Let's be a family." Jordan pulled her close and kissed her. It was soft and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Tasha felt like she was floating. "There's one more thing," Jordan said. "The house I've been looking at. The one with the big yard and the workshop space. The one you showed me pictures of? I put an offer on it. Well, we put an offer on it. If you say yes, it would be ours. A place for all 3 of us. Room for Brianna to run around. Space for you to have a home workshop if you want. A real family home." "We can't afford that," Tasha said automatically. "I can. And I want to. This is my gift to us. To our future. Please say yes." Tasha thought about Brianna growing up in that house. Thought about Christmas mornings and birthday parties and ordinary Tuesday evenings cooking dinner together. Thought about having a real home instead of an apartment above a restaurant. "Yes," she said. "Yes to all of it. The house, the future, the family. Yes." They stood by the river holding each other as the sun set over the city, both of them knowing that their lives were about to change in the most beautiful way possible. Are you as invested in this love story as I am? Do you think Jordan and Tasha are moving too fast, or is this exactly how love should feel? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to see what happens next in their journey. Moving day was chaos. Boxes everywhere, furniture wrapped in blankets, Brianna running through the empty rooms of their new house squealing with excitement. "This is my room?" she kept asking. "Really? All mine?" "All yours," Tasha confirmed for the 10th time. "And you can paint it any color you want. Can I do purple with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling?" "Absolutely." Jordan's business partner, Stephen, showed up mid-morning to help move furniture. He was tall and thin with a perpetual frown, and Tasha had never quite warmed to him. "Nice place," Stephen said looking around. "Must have cost a fortune." "It's home," Jordan said simply, carrying a box labeled kitchen. "And you're okay with this?" Stephen asked Tasha. "Living in a house he paid for?" "Stephen," Jordan's voice had an edge to it. "I'm just asking. It's a valid question. You're moving fast, man. 6 months ago you were single. Now you're playing house with a woman and her kid." "That woman is standing right here," Tasha said coolly. "And yes, I'm okay with it. Jordan and I talked about everything. We made this decision together." Stephen held up his hands. "Sorry? I'm just looking out for my friend. I've seen guys get taken advantage of before." "You mean you've seen rich guys date women you think are beneath them?" Tasha shot back. "I'm not taking advantage of anyone. I work hard. I run my own business. And I care about Jordan for who he is, not what he has." "Tasha," Jordan said quietly. "It's okay. Stephen's just being protective." "No, it's not okay." Tasha set down the box she was holding. "I'm tired of people assuming I'm with you for money. Your friends, your colleagues, even strangers who see us together. I stopped to help you on the highway before I knew who you were. I fell in love with you because you're kind and genuine and good with my daughter. The money is just money." Stephen had the grace to look embarrassed. "You're right. I apologize. That was out of line." "It was," Jordan agreed. "And Stephen, if you can't respect Tasha, then you can leave. She's going to be my wife." The room went silent. Brianna stopped unpacking her toys. Nicole, who'd been organizing the kitchen, poked her head out to see what was happening. "Your wife," Tasha said. "Is that a proposal or a statement?" Jordan ran a hand through his hair. "That was supposed to come out more romantic. I had a whole plan. I was going to take you both to the amusement park next weekend. Propose on the Ferris wheel at sunset. Very cinematic." "Ferris wheel proposals are cliché," Tasha said, but she was smiling. "You're right. They are." Jordan walked over to her, took her hand. "Tasha Williams, you stopped to help me when my car broke down. You showed up to our first date covered in grease. You let me into your life and into Brianna's life. You've taught me what it means to build something real with someone. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Tasha said without hesitation. "Yes, I'll marry you." Brianna screamed and jumped up and down. Nicole started crying happy tears. Stephen looked uncomfortable, which Tasha found oddly satisfying. Jordan pulled a ring box from his pocket. "I've been carrying this around for 2 weeks waiting for the right moment. Guess the right moment is now." The ring was beautiful but not ostentatious. A simple diamond on a gold band. Perfect for a mechanic who worked with her hands. "It fits," Tasha said, sliding it on. "How did you know my size?" Nicole helped. Jordan pulled her close. "I love you. Both of you. And I promise I'm going to spend every day trying to make you happy." "You already make us happy," Tasha said, kissing him. The rest of moving day went by in a blur. They ordered pizza for dinner and ate it sitting on the floor of their new living room because the table wasn't assembled yet. Brianna fell asleep in her sleeping bag in her new purple room, exhausted but smiling. Later, as Tasha and Jordan sat on the back porch looking at the yard, Jordan brought up something he'd been thinking about. "I want to adopt Brianna," he said. "Officially. Legally. I want to be her father in every way." Tasha felt tears spring to her eyes. "Really? Really? If that's okay with you. And with her, of course. But I want her to have my name. I want to be on her school forms and emergency contacts. I want to be her dad." "She would love that," Tasha said. "And so would I. But are you sure? That's a huge commitment. A forever commitment." "I've never been more sure of anything." They talked late into the night about the adoption process, about when to tell Brianna, about how to make it special for her. The next weekend they went to the amusement park as planned. Jordan bought them all matching t-shirts from the gift shop, which Brianna thought was hilarious. They rode every ride, ate too much cotton candy and laughed until their sides hurt. On the Ferris wheel, as the sun set over the park, Jordan took Brianna's hand. "I asked your mom to marry me," he said. "She said yes. But I need to ask you something too. Is it okay if I become your dad? Your real, official, forever dad?" Brianna's eyes filled with tears. "You mean it?" You really want to be my dad? More than anything. Yes. Brianna threw her arms around him. Yes, yes, yes. Can I call you dad? I would love that. Tasha watched them hug, watched her daughter finally have the father she'd always deserved, and felt her heart swell with gratitude. 6 months ago, she'd been struggling to keep her business afloat and wondering if she'd ever find love. Now she had a thriving business, a beautiful home, and a man who loved her daughter as much as she did. Best blind date ever, she murmured. Jordan heard her and laughed. Best broken-down car ever. They rode the Ferris wheel around 3 more times, the 3 of them squeezed into one seat, watching the park lights twinkle below them and planning their future together. Wedding planning consumed the next 3 months. Tasha had always imagined a simple ceremony if she ever got married again. Maybe at City Hall with a few friends present. But Jordan wanted to celebrate. He wanted their friends and family to be part of their joy. They compromised. A medium-sized wedding at a beautiful garden venue. Nothing too extravagant, but special enough to mark the occasion properly. Brianna was going to be the flower girl, a role she took very seriously. She practiced walking slowly down the hallway of their house every evening, scattering imaginary petals and maintaining a solemn expression that usually broke into giggles halfway through. She's going to steal the show, Nicole said one afternoon while they were addressing invitations. You know that, right? I'm counting on it, Tasha said. This wedding is as much about making her feel included as it is about me and Jordan. Jordan had insisted on paying for everything. The venue, the flowers, the food, the photographer. Tasha had tried to contribute, but Jordan had been firm. You're building franchise locations, he'd said. That's where your money should go. Let me handle the wedding. It's my gift to us. So Tasha had accepted with gratitude, learning that accepting help didn't make her weak. It made her smart. The adoption paperwork was moving forward too. Jordan's lawyer had expedited everything, and the court date was set for 2 weeks before the wedding. Brianna would officially become Brianna Mitchell before her parents got married. Are you nervous? Tasha asked Jordan one night as they reviewed the final adoption documents. About the adoption? Not even a little. About being a good father? Terrified. You're already a good father, Tasha said. You show up. You listen. You make her feel valued. That's what matters. I just want to do right by her. By both of you. You already are. The morning of the adoption hearing, Brianna wore her favorite red dress and her good shoes. She'd insisted on looking nice for court. On the drive to the courthouse, she was uncharacteristically quiet. You okay back there? Jordan asked, glancing at her in the rearview mirror. I'm thinking, Brianna said seriously. About what? About how I'm going to introduce you at school. This is my dad. Sounds weird because you haven't been my dad before. But, this is Jordan. Also sounds weird now because you're going to be my dad. How about just dad? Jordan suggested. Simple. Clear. True. Dad. Brianna tested the word. Yeah. I like that. The hearing itself was quick. The judge, a kind-looking woman with gray hair, asked Brianna a few questions about whether she wanted Jordan to be her father. Brianna's answers were enthusiastic and certain. He takes me to science camp and helps me with my homework and makes funny pancakes on Saturdays, she explained. And he loves my mom and makes her smile. So yeah, I want him to be my dad. The judge signed the papers. Jordan officially became Brianna Mitchell's father. They celebrated with ice cream sundaes at Brianna's favorite diner, where she told everyone who would listen that Jordan was her new dad. 2 weeks later, on a perfect Saturday in October, Tasha married Jordan in a garden surrounded by white roses and their closest friends and family. Brianna walked down the aisle first, scattering real flower petals with intense concentration. She only grinned once when she caught Jordan's eye and saw him watching her with obvious pride. Then Tasha came down the aisle on Nicole's arm, wearing a simple ivory dress that Jordan had insisted on buying. Had actually gone shopping with him and Nicole and let them talk her into something beautiful and elegant. Jordan stood at the altar in a sharp blue suit, his eyes never leaving Tasha as she walked toward him. The ceremony was short and sweet. They'd written their own vows. Tasha, Jordan said, his voice steady even though his hands were shaking slightly. You stopped to help me when I was broken down on the side of the road. You didn't know who I was. You just saw someone who needed help and you helped. That's who you are. That's why I love you. You're kind, you're strong, you work harder than anyone I know, and you raised an incredible daughter who makes me want to be a better person. I promise to always stop for you when you need help. I promise to build dreams with you. I promise to be the best husband and father I can be. Tasha's vows were simpler. Jordan, you saw me at my worst, covered in grease and completely frazzled. And you thought I was beautiful anyway. You didn't try to change me or make me fit into your world. You just loved me as I am. You love my daughter as if she's always been yours. You make us both feel safe and valued and cherished. That's all I've ever wanted. That's all I'll ever need. I promise to love you forever in good times and bad, whether cars are breaking down or everything's running smoothly. When the officiant pronounced them married, Brianna cheered loudly, making everyone laugh. The reception was held in the same garden. They kept it small, just 50 guests. Close friends, family, a few of Jordan's business associates who'd become genuine friends. Stephen was there, and he approached Tasha during the cocktail hour. I owe you an apology, he said. A real one. I was wrong about you. I was worried Jordan was moving too fast, that he was going to get hurt. But I can see now that you're the best thing that ever happened to him. You and Brianna. You're his family. And I'm sorry I made you feel like you weren't good enough. Thank you for saying that, Tasha said. It means a lot. For what it's worth, I think you two are going to make it. I've known Jordan for 15 years and I've never seen him this happy. That makes two of us. During dinner, Jordan stood to make a toast. I want to thank everyone for being here to celebrate with us, he said. But mostly I want to thank Tasha. 6 months ago my car broke down and I thought I was having the worst day. Turns out it was the best day of my life. Because that's the day I met the woman who would change everything. Tasha, you taught me that kindness matters more than money. That showing up for people is more important than showing off. That real love is about building something together, not buying things for each other. You and Brianna are my family. You're my home. And I'm the luckiest man alive. Tasha couldn't stop crying. Happy tears, the kind that came from being overwhelmed with gratitude and joy. They danced to a song Brianna had helped them pick, something upbeat and happy instead of the traditional slow dance. Brianna danced with them, sandwiched between her parents, laughing as Jordan spun them both around. Later, as the reception wound down and guests started to leave, Tasha stood with Nicole watching Jordan and Brianna try to catch fireflies in the garden. You did good, sis, Nicole said. You both did good. I know, Tasha said. I really know. That night, after the wedding, after the celebration, after Brianna had finally crashed in her new room exhausted and happy, Tasha and Jordan sat on their back porch drinking champagne and watching the stars. Mrs. Mitchell, Jordan said. How does it feel? Perfect, Tasha said. Everything feels perfect. And for the first time in her life she truly meant it. The article appeared 3 months after the wedding. Tasha was at the shop training her new franchise managers, when Nicole burst through the door with her phone. Have you seen this? Nicole demanded, shoving the phone at Tasha. The headline read, Billionaire Jordan Mitchell's wife, gold digger or genuine love story? Tasha's stomach dropped as she read. The article detailed her financial struggles before meeting Jordan. It mentioned overdue bills, the loan she'd taken out to keep her shop running, the months she'd been behind on rent. It painted a picture of a desperate woman who'd landed a rich man and manipulated him into marriage. The worst part was the quotes from anonymous sources. She clearly saw an opportunity and took it. The timing is suspicious, don't you think? She went from barely making rent to living in a mansion. What does that tell you? Who wrote this? Tasha asked, her hands shaking. Some gossip site. But Tasha, it's everywhere. It's been shared thousands of times. Tasha sat down heavily. This was her worst nightmare. The thing she'd been afraid of from the beginning. People thinking she was with Jordan for his money. Her phone started ringing. Jordan. I saw it, he said before she could speak. I'm on my way to you. Don't read the comments. Don't respond. Just wait for me. He arrived 20 minutes later, his face set with determination. Stephen was with him. We're suing, Stephen said immediately. This is defamation. Slander. We have lawyers who can destroy this publication. No, Jordan said. We're not hiding. We're going to tell our story. The real story. That's what they want, Stephen protested. They want you to engage. It gives them more publicity. I don't care about their publicity. I care about my wife being attacked. Jordan took Tasha's hand. We're going to set the record straight. That evening, Jordan arranged a press conference. Tasha wanted to refuse. She wanted to hide. But Jordan was right. Silence would only make things worse. They stood together at a podium, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. Jordan held Tasha's hand the entire time. I want to address the article that was published today, Jordan began. The one that suggests my wife married me for money. Let me be clear about something. Tasha didn't know who I was when we met. My car broke down on the highway and she stopped to help. She was late to our blind date because she was fixing a stranger's car on the side of the road. That stranger happened to be me. She showed up to our first date covered in grease, embarrassed and apologetic. She tried to refuse every gift I offered, every investment, every act of help. She's the least materialistic person I've ever met. Tasha took the microphone next, her voice steady despite her nerves. I understand why people are skeptical. I understand that from the outside this looks like a fairy tale. Poor mechanic meets rich man and suddenly her life changes. But the truth is I fell in love with Jordan because of who he is, not what he has. He's kind. He's genuine. He loves my daughter like she's his own. He became part of our family because he chose to show up every day in ways that mattered. Not with money but with time and attention and care. A reporter raised his hand. But you did accept financial help from him. Your shop, your house, your daughter's education. That's all funded by his money. Yes, Tasha said. Because he offered it with love and generosity. Because I learned that accepting help isn't weakness, it's trust. And because I'm building something with that help. 3 franchise locations that are providing jobs for 15 people. A business that's thriving and growing. Jordan didn't rescue me. He invested in me. There's a difference. Another reporter spoke up. What about the anonymous sources claiming you targeted Mr. Mitchell? They're lying, Jordan said flatly. And I have a good idea who they are. People who don't want to see me happy. People who think money is the only thing that matters. They're wrong. The press conference lasted an hour. By the end, Tasha was exhausted but felt lighter. They'd told their truth. Whatever people chose to believe was up to them. The public response was mixed. Some people were convinced by their honesty. Others remained skeptical. But Tasha didn't care anymore. She knew the truth. Jordan knew the truth. Brianna knew the truth. That was all that mattered. A week later, Stephen came to their house looking uncomfortable. I need to tell you something, he said to Jordan. The article. The anonymous sources. That was me. Tasha felt like she'd been punched. What? I was trying to protect you, Stephen said to Jordan. I thought she was using you. I thought if the truth came out you'd see it too. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'll resign from the company. I'll do whatever you want. Jordan was silent for a long moment. Then he said, You're fired. Not just from the company. From my life. You don't get to attack my family and call it protection. Jordan, please. Get out, Jordan said quietly. Before I say something I'll regret. Stephen left. After he was gone, Jordan pulled Tasha close. I'm sorry, he said. I'm sorry people are making this hard for you. It's not your fault, Tasha said. And honestly, I don't care what anyone thinks. I know why I married you. You know why I married you. Our daughter knows. That's all that matters. You're stronger than I am, Jordan said. No. We're strong together. That's the whole point. That night, lying in bed, Tasha felt Jordan take her hand. I want to do something, he said. Something big. What? I want to start a foundation. One that helps single parents start businesses. Provides microloans, mentorship, resources. I want to help people the way I helped you. The way others helped me when I was starting out. Tasha turned to look at him. That's a beautiful idea. Will you run it with me? Will you be the face of it? You understand what it's like. You can inspire people. Yes, Tasha said. Absolutely yes. They spent the next hour planning, dreaming, building something good out of the ugliness that had tried to tear them down. And Tasha realized that sometimes the hardest moments revealed the strongest love. The foundation launched 6 months later. They called it Second Chances, and Tasha became its public face. She traveled to community centers and business incubators, sharing her story and encouraging other single parents to pursue their dreams. The response was overwhelming. Within 3 months, they distributed over $50,000 in microloans. They'd connected entrepreneurs with mentors. They'd helped 12 people open new businesses. Tasha loved every minute of it. She still ran her auto repair franchises, but now she also had this other passion. This way of paying forward everything Jordan had given her. One afternoon, she was speaking at a community center in a rough neighborhood when a young woman approached her after the presentation. She was maybe 25 with tired eyes and a toddler on her hip. I'm Keisha, the woman said. No wait, I know you don't like that name. I'm Melissa. I heard your story. About starting your business with almost nothing. About someone believing in you. That's right, Tasha said. I want to open a catering business. I'm a really good cook. But I don't have any startup money. And I have 2 kids and no one to help me. Do you think your foundation could help? Tasha looked at Melissa's hopeful face and saw herself 5 years ago. Desperate, determined, terrified. Tell me about your business plan, Tasha said. They sat down together. Melissa pulled out a crumpled notebook filled with recipes, menu ideas, pricing strategies. It was rough, but it showed potential. More importantly, it showed passion. We can help you, Tasha said. We'll start with a microloan to buy equipment. Then we'll pair you with a mentor who runs a successful catering company. They'll guide you through the licensing process, help you build a client base, teach you the business side of things. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. Really? You do that for me? That's what we're here for. To give people a second chance. To invest in people who work hard and dream big. How do I apply? You just did. I'm approving your loan right now. Melissa hugged her, crying happy tears. Her toddler looked confused but patted Tasha's shoulder comfortingly. Later, driving home, Tasha called Jordan. I just approved another loan, she said. A single mom who wants to start a catering business. She reminded me so much of myself. That's what you do best, Jordan said. See potential in people. Believe in them when no one else will. I learned that from you. No. You already knew it. I just gave you the resources to act on it. The foundation continued to grow. Local news stations covered their work. National publications wrote articles about their approach to entrepreneurship and poverty. Jordan and Tasha did interviews together, always emphasizing that the foundation wasn't about charity. It was about investment. About believing in people's ability to build better lives. Meanwhile, the franchises were thriving. All 3 locations were profitable. Tasha had hired excellent managers who shared her commitment to quality work and fair prices. She could finally relax slightly, knowing that the business would survive even if she wasn't there every single day. Brianna was thriving too. She was excelling in school, particularly in science and math. Jordan had started teaching her basic coding, and she'd become obsessed with building simple programs. I think she's going to be an engineer, Jordan said one evening as they watched Brianna work on a robotics project at the kitchen table. Or an astronaut, Tasha added. She still talks about going to space. Why not both? Jordan laughed. The adoption had made everything official, but Jordan had been Brianna's father in every way that mattered long before the paperwork was signed. He went to her parent-teacher conferences, coached her soccer team, stayed up late helping with science fair projects. He was present, involved, loving. One Saturday morning, the 3 of them were making pancakes when Jordan's phone rang. He glanced at it and frowned. It's my lawyer, he said. I should take this. He stepped into the other room. Tasha and Brianna continued cooking, but Tasha could hear the tension in Jordan's voice through the wall. When he came back, he looked shaken. Stephen is suing me, he said. For wrongful termination. He's claiming I fired him without cause. He wants damages and his position back in the company. Tasha felt anger surge through her. Are you kidding me? He admitted to leaking that story about me. I know. But he's claiming he did it out of concern for the company. That it was within his rights as a business partner. What are you going to do? Fight it? My lawyer says we have a strong case. Stephen violated the terms of our partnership agreement. And even if he didn't, the company leadership voted to remove him. It wasn't just my decision. The lawsuit dragged on for months. Stephen's lawyers tried every tactic they could think of. They subpoenaed financial records, deposed employees, dug into Jordan's personal life looking for anything they could use. It was exhausting and invasive. But Jordan refused to settle. If I give in now, he said, Stephen wins. And more importantly, he gets to keep spreading lies about you. About us. I'm not letting that happen. The trial finally happened in the fall. Tasha sat in the courtroom every day, listening to lawyers argue about business partnerships and contractual obligations. It was boring and technical and seemed completely removed from the real issue. Stephen had tried to destroy their family because he didn't think Tasha was good enough for Jordan. On the final day, the judge ruled in Jordan's favor. Stephen's termination was upheld. He was ordered to pay court costs. He was barred from contacting Jordan or Tasha or spreading any information about them. It's over, Jordan said as they left the courthouse. He can't hurt us anymore. But Tasha knew it had never really been about Stephen. It had been about proving that their love was real. That their family was real. That kindness and hope and genuine connection could survive scrutiny and suspicion. That evening they celebrated with Brianna's favorite dinner, tacos and ice cream sundaes. It was simple and perfect, just like their life together. I'm proud of you, Tasha told Jordan later after Brianna had gone to bed. For fighting. For standing up for us. I'd do anything for you too, Jordan said. Anything at all. I know. That's why I love you. They sat on their back porch looking at the stars, feeling grateful for everything they'd built together. The foundation was helping people. The businesses were successful. Brianna was happy and thriving. Their marriage was stronger than ever. You know what the best part is? Tasha said. What? We did this together. Every challenge, every victory. We're a team. Best team in the world, Jordan agreed. And sitting there under the stars, Tasha knew that no lawsuit or article or judgment from strangers could ever diminish what they had. They'd built something real. Something lasting. Something worth fighting for. 1 year after the lawsuit ended, Tasha stood in front of a mirror adjusting Brianna's flower crown. They were at the venue for the foundation's first annual gala, a fundraiser to support more entrepreneurs and expand their programs. Brianna, now 9 years old and growing so fast it made Tasha's heart ache, wore a beautiful green dress that she'd picked out herself. Her flower crown sat slightly crooked, but she refused to let Tasha fix it. It looks better this way, Brianna insisted. More natural. More crooked, Tasha corrected, but she was smiling. Mom, how many people are coming tonight? 300. All people who believe in second chances. All people who want to help others the way we were helped. That's a lot of people. It is. And you're going to charm all of them. Jordan appeared in the doorway of the dressing room, looking handsome in a dark blue suit. My 2 favorite girls, he said. You both look beautiful. You look pretty good yourself, Tasha said, kissing him. The gala was being held in a beautiful ballroom downtown. Tasha had tried to convince Jordan to keep it small, but he'd insisted they needed something impressive to attract donors and attention. As guests arrived, Tasha worked the room alongside Jordan. She'd gotten better at these events over the past year. She no longer felt out of place at fancy gatherings. She'd learned that her story, her authenticity, was actually her greatest asset in these spaces. Tasha, a familiar voice called out. Melissa, the young caterer Tasha had helped a year ago, approached with a tray of appetizers. I'm catering tonight. Can you believe it? Your foundation gave me my start, and now I'm catering your event. Melissa, this is amazing. Are these your creations? All of them. Jordan's assistant hired me for the whole evening. This is the biggest job I've ever had. Tasha felt tears prick her eyes. I'm so proud of you. I wouldn't be here without you. Without the foundation. You gave me hope when I had none. Later, during dinner, Jordan stood to give a speech. The room quieted as he walked to the podium. 1 year ago, he began, my wife and I launched Second Chances Foundation. We did it because we believe that everyone deserves an opportunity. Everyone deserves someone to believe in them. Everyone deserves help when they're struggling. Tonight, I'm proud to announce that we've helped 83 entrepreneurs start businesses. We've distributed over $200,000 in microloans. We've created jobs for over 300 people. And we're just getting started. The room erupted in applause. Tasha felt overwhelmed with pride and gratitude. But more than the numbers, Jordan continued, I want to talk about impact. About the single mother who can now afford childcare because her catering business is thriving. About the veteran who opened a landscaping company and is hiring other veterans. About the teenager who started a tutoring service and is putting himself through college. These are the stories that matter. These are the lives we're changing. He paused, looking directly at Tasha. My wife knows what it's like to struggle. She knows what it's like to work 3 jobs and still worry about making rent. She knows what it's like to have a dream and no resources to make it happen. That's why she's so good at running this foundation. She sees people, not problems. She sees potential, not limitations. And she believes in second chances because someone believed in her. Tasha stood and walked to the podium. Jordan handed her the microphone and stepped back. Thank you all for being here, Tasha said. And thank you for believing in what we're building. I want to tell you something important. When I met Jordan, I almost refused his help. My pride got in the way. I thought accepting help meant I was weak. I thought I had to do everything myself. I was wrong. Accepting help, accepting love, accepting someone's belief in you, that's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's courage. So tonight, I want to encourage all of you to help someone. And if someone offers to help you, accept it with gratitude. We're not meant to do this life alone. We're meant to lift each other up. The applause was thunderous. After the speech, people lined up to talk to Tasha, to share their own stories, to thank her for her work. A woman in her 50s approached with tears in her eyes. I lost my business 10 years ago during the recession. I thought I'd never have another chance. But your foundation helped me restart. I just wanted to say thank you. You did the work, Tasha said. We just opened the door. No. You gave me hope. That was bigger than money. As the evening wound down and guests started to leave, Tasha found Jordan and Brianna sitting together on a bench outside the ballroom. Hey, she said, sitting down next to them. What are you two doing out here? Watching the stars, Brianna said. And talking about how far we've come. Pretty far, Tasha agreed. Do you remember that night I proposed on the Ferris wheel? Jordan asked. Of course. That was the night you officially became dad, Brianna said. I remember thinking that night that I wanted to build a life with both of you. A real family. The kind I never had growing up. And now look at us. We have this beautiful family. We're helping other people build better lives. We're making a difference. We are, Tasha said softly. And it all started because I stopped to help a stranger fix his car. Best breakdown ever, Jordan said, pulling both of them close. They sat there under the stars, the three of them, reflecting on how much their lives had changed. How one act of kindness had led to love. How accepting help had led to building something bigger than any of them could have created alone. Brianna fell asleep against Jordan's shoulder as they sat there. Tasha watched her daughter, so peaceful and secure, and felt overwhelming gratitude. This little girl who'd grown up without a father now had the best dad in the world. Who'd grown up in a tiny apartment now had a beautiful home. Who'd grown up watching her mother struggle now saw her mother thriving. What are you thinking about? Jordan asked quietly. About how lucky we are. About how kindness and hope and love really do win in the end. About how grateful I am that your car broke down that night. And that you stopped. And that I stopped. 6 months later, Tasha stood in the hospital holding their newborn son. They'd named him William after Tasha's father. He had Jordan's eyes and Tasha's nose and was absolutely perfect. Brianna sat in the hospital bed next to Tasha, staring at her baby brother with wonder. He's so tiny, she said. You were this tiny once, Jordan said, taking pictures with his phone. I'm a big sister now. I have to protect him. We all do, Tasha said. We protect each other. That's what families do. Jordan sat on the other side of the bed, his arm around Tasha, looking at their family with obvious joy. Complete, he said. Our family is complete. Not complete, Tasha corrected. Still growing. Still building. Still becoming. Good point. They sat together in that hospital room, their expanded family, knowing that whatever challenges came their way, they'd face them together. With kindness, with hope, and with love leading the way. The foundation continued to grow. The businesses continued to thrive. Brianna excelled in school and discovered a passion for robotics. Baby William grew into a toddler who loved cars just like his mother. And through it all, Tasha and Jordan built their life together. Not a perfect life because perfect didn't exist. But a real life. A good life. A life built on the simple truth that stopping to help someone, accepting help when it was offered, and believing in the power of kindness could change everything. Years later, when people asked Tasha about her success, about how she'd gone from struggling single mother to successful entrepreneur and nonprofit leader, she always told them the same story. About a broken-down car on a highway. About stopping to help when she could have kept driving. About a blind date that turned into true love. About accepting generosity instead of letting pride get in the way. About building something beautiful with someone who believed in her. The best things in life, she'd say, come from choosing kindness. From accepting help. From believing that love and hope are always worth the risk. And then she'd smile, thinking about Jordan and Brianna and William waiting for her at home, and she'd know with absolute certainty that every word was true.